Captain Elias Ward crouched behind the jagged rocks, his breath steady but his heart alert. The planet Zithera was not like Earth. Its skies burned with strange shades of purple and orange, and its winds carried whispers of danger. Elias had been sent here on a human scout mission to gather information on the ongoing conflict between the local alien factions. Humans were rare on this planet, and being caught here meant almost certain death. But danger was something Elias had long grown used to. He had faced hostile worlds, harsh terrain, and enemies far stronger than any human could hope to match. What set him apart was not just training. It was a strange, stubborn courage, a refusal to leave those in need behind. The village below was in ruins. Wooden homes lay splintered. Fires smoldered in the rubble, and the air smelled of scorched metal and ash. Elias had spotted the wreckage from a ridge and descended quietly, careful not to make noise. He had expected to find nothing, just the usual aftermath of an alien skirmish, but then he heard it. A faint, trembling cry. It was soft, almost fragile, but unmistakable. Someone or something was alive. Elias's eyes scanned the rubble, and there, trapped under a fallen beam, he saw a small alien child. The child had 4 limbs, delicate and thin, skin that shimmered like green glass, and large eyes that glowed faintly in the dim light. It whimpered again, struggling weakly against the debris. Without hesitation, Elias ran to help. He knelt beside the child, testing the beam. It was heavy, but his strength, human and stubborn, was enough. He lifted it slowly, careful not to hurt the child further. The alien blinked at him with wide, fearful eyes. Elias gave a gentle smile. "It's okay. I won't hurt you," he said, using the simplest words. The child seemed to understand, but it didn't move closer yet. A sudden sound froze him in place. A clicking, metallic sound, sharp and deliberate. Elias turned, his instincts flaring. From the shadows of the broken village emerged hostile alien soldiers. They moved with precision, their weapons trained on the child, their glowing eyes fixed on him. Elias felt no fear, only a rush of clarity. He understood their intent. The child was important to them. He didn't know why yet, but he didn't need to. He stepped in front of the child. "Back away," he said firmly, voice calm but strong. The aliens advanced, weapons humming. Elias had no heavy weapon on him, only his sidearm and his tactical belt. But he was human, and humans were unpredictable. They didn't know that Elias could endure pain, think fast, and act in ways they could not anticipate. The first alien soldier lunged forward, swinging a long, serrated weapon. Elias sidestepped, grabbed the alien's wrist, and twisted sharply. The alien hissed and stumbled, giving Elias just enough time to push the child behind him. Another soldier attacked from the left, fast and mechanical. Elias ducked, using his momentum to kick a metal beam into its path. Sparks flew and the soldier stumbled. The child's eyes widened, staring at him not just with fear, but with hope. Elias realized something then. This child had no one else. If he failed, the child would die, and humans did not leave children to die. Another attack came. This time, Elias felt a sting as a weapon grazed his arm. Pain flared, but he ignored it. Every strike he blocked, every move he made was to protect the child, to give it a chance. He was human, yes, but here he was something more. Someone willing to put everything on the line for another life. Minutes, or perhaps hours, passed. The battle was chaotic, a blur of movement, sparks, and alien shrieks. Elias's training and instinct kept him alive. The aliens were skilled, but they were not human. They did not anticipate the sheer endurance, creativity, and stubborn will that he brought into every motion. Finally, the soldiers retreated, hissed words that Elias did not understand, and vanished into the night. Silence fell. The child emerged from behind him, trembling but unharmed. It looked at Elias, then touched his arm cautiously, as if testing if he was real. Elias knelt to be at the child's level. "You're safe now," he said softly. "I've got you." The child made a small, almost musical sound. It was not a word, but Elias understood it as gratitude. Or perhaps trust. Trust was harder to earn on Scythera than breathing, but in that moment he had it. He scanned the village again. More enemies could come, and he knew he couldn't stay. But he also knew he couldn't leave the child behind. The human instinct to protect the vulnerable had taken root, and nothing would stop it. He hoisted the child gently, feeling the tiny body press against him. The alien was light but fragile. Every step had to be careful. Yet in his heart, Elias felt a strange sense of purpose. He had not expected to find meaning on this mission, but the child had given it to him. Night fell fully over Zythera, casting long shadows over the broken village. Elias moved quickly but quietly, slipping through the ruins, avoiding patrols and keeping the child safe. He noticed the child staring at the stars above, their own twin suns hidden now by clouds, but Elias could see the reflection of wonder and fear in its glowing eyes. "Don't worry," he whispered. "I won't let anything happen to you." He remembered Earth then, his home long light years away. He thought of his own people, his friends, the families he had left behind. Yet none of that mattered here. Here there was this child, and that was enough. Courage, he knew, was not about facing a known enemy. It was about facing the unknown, and still choosing to protect life. Hours passed as he navigated the treacherous terrain. Each step brought new challenges: collapsed bridges, poisonous plants, and alien predators that slithered in the shadows. But Elias was human. Humans survived against all odds. Humans adapted. Humans protected those who could not protect themselves. The child nestled against him, exhausted but safe. For the first time since he had found it, the child allowed a tiny smile. Elias smiled back, despite the pain in his arm and the exhaustion in his legs. He had made a choice, and already it was changing him. In the distance, he saw the outline of a dense forest, a place to hide, at least for a while. He headed there, moving cautiously, always alert. He did not know what awaited them, what dangers lurked in the darkness, or whether the hostile aliens would return. But he did know one thing. He would take every strike, bear every danger, and endure every pain to keep this child alive. And somewhere deep in the shadows, unseen, the alien mother was watching. She had been searching for her child, and now she had seen a human take the blows meant for her young one. She did not yet understand the human heart, but she had witnessed its courage, and that courage would not go unnoticed. Elias Ward walked on through the alien night, the child clinging to him. Every step was heavy with danger, every shadow a potential threat. But he did not falter. Humans were rare here, fragile in the eyes of the aliens, but Elias was something different. Something they had not yet seen, the unyielding spirit of humanity. Tonight, a human had taken every strike to protect a child. And in the coming days, the universe would take notice. The dense forest of Zythera rose around Elias and the child like a wall of green and shadows. Strange plants with glowing veins lit parts of their path, while thick vines threatened to trip every step. The air smelled sharp, metallic, and damp, and distant sounds, unfamiliar roars and whispers, reminded Elias that the planet was alive in ways humans could not fully understand. The child clung tightly to him, small fingers gripping his armor. It made soft musical sounds, half fear and half curiosity. Elias had learned quickly that the child did not speak their alien language in a way he could understand, but he could read emotion, fear, pain, curiosity, trust. They all shone clearly in the child's wide, glowing eyes. Elias whispered quietly, keeping his voice calm. "Stay close. Don't worry. We'll be safe for now." He did not know if safe existed here, but he believed it had to. He believed in protecting the innocent no matter the cost. That was the essence of being human, and he would show it in every step. The forest was treacherous. Giant roots twisted like snakes, and sudden drops threatened to send them both tumbling. Elias moved with care, lifting the child over obstacles, sliding down steep banks while keeping a protective arm around it. His muscles burned from exertion, but he ignored the fatigue. Humans could endure far more than aliens expected. Humans could survive when it seemed impossible, and humans protected. As night fell deeper, the forest changed. Strange creatures emerged from the shadows, long-legged predators with glowing eyes, wings that made eerie whispers, and sharp talons that glinted in the dim light. They circled, curious and hungry. Elias did not panic. He had faced worse. He set small traps from branches and stones, creating barriers and distractions. The creatures hesitated, startled by his ingenuity, giving him enough time to move forward. The child's soft voice broke through his concentration. It was a gentle chirp, almost like a laugh, but it carried weight. Trust. Elias smiled briefly, even as sweat ran down his face. "You're brave," he whispered. "We'll get through this." Hours passed. Elias could feel exhaustion pressing on him like a heavy cloak, but he did not stop. Every step was calculated. Every breath was measured. The child's life depended on him, and he would not fail. Suddenly, distant voices reached his ears. Harsh, metallic, and unmistakable, the alien soldiers were searching again. They were close, moving fast, their pursuit relentless. Elias knew he could not outrun them forever, but humans did not rely on speed alone. Humans used wit, courage, and the will to survive. He led the child to a shallow river that wound through the forest. Its water glimmered under the faint light of Zithera's twin moons. Elias waded carefully, keeping the child on his back. The river was cold, but it would hide their scent from the alien trackers. He moved slowly, feeling the current against his legs, listening to every sound, alert to every movement. On the other side, the forest grew thicker. Trees with twisting, reflective bark created natural barriers. Elias used the terrain to his advantage, weaving through the trees in patterns designed to confuse their pursuers. He glanced back occasionally, catching glimpses of movement, hearing the sharp clicks of alien weapons scanning the forest. They were relentless. But so was he. At one point, he had to climb a steep cliff to continue. The rock was slick with moisture, but Elias's hands gripped carefully, pulling himself up. The child rested against his chest, trusting him entirely. Elias felt a surge of determination. If humans could survive countless generations, if they could endure the cold of space and the heat of alien suns, they could survive this too. They would survive. As he reached the top, he spotted a small clearing, a possible place to rest. He carefully lowered the child, letting it sit against his chest. Both of them were tired, exhausted beyond words, but the child's soft gaze reassured him. Its trust was a gift. Its life was a responsibility. And humans bore responsibility as fiercely as any warrior bore arms. Elias allowed himself a moment to observe the sky. Zithera's twin moons cast silver and violet light over the clearing, and strange constellations shone faintly. It reminded him of Earth, distant and fragile, and of why humans carried courage in their hearts. They survived not only for themselves but for those who could not protect themselves. He began to prepare a small shelter from fallen branches and leaves, creating a protective barrier around them. While doing so, the child wandered slightly, curious but careful, exploring under his watchful eyes. Elias noticed its fascination with the glow of certain plants. He touched one gently, showing the child it was safe, and the alien made a delighted sound. Elias chuckled softly, a rare moment of lightness in the harsh night. Suddenly, a sharp cry echoed through the forest. Elias froze. It was a sound of warning, a bird-like creature perhaps, or a predator alerting others. From the darkness, shadows moved fast, too precise to be natural creatures. The alien soldiers had found them. Elias's heart pounded, but he did not panic. He placed the child behind a cluster of glowing ferns hidden from view. His sidearm was ready, his eyes sharp, his mind working through every possibility. The first alien emerged from the shadows, scanning the clearing, weapon raised. Elias waited, silent and still, until the alien was close enough. Then he acted. Using a combination of force and surprise, he disabled the first soldier, rolling behind another tree to avoid the return attack. Each move was calculated, each action precise. The aliens were strong, but humans were unpredictable. Humans were brave. Humans protected life even when it was dangerous. The battle was short, but intense. Elias used the terrain cleverly, causing rocks to fall and creating barriers that slowed the enemies. The child watched from its hiding place, wide-eyed but safe. When the last alien retreated, it made a soft, relieved chirp, rushing to Elias and clinging tightly to him. Elias patted its back gently. "It's okay. You're safe. I've got you." The night passed slowly. Elias kept watch, alert for any sign of further danger. He shared bits of his rations with the child, teaching it how to eat and drink safely. In return, the child shared small gestures, shy smiles, and soft musical tones that felt like gratitude. By the time dawn approached, the forest seemed less threatening. But Elias knew it was still full of danger. The child had begun to trust him fully now, and he had begun to understand its emotions, its fears, and its courage. Together, they were forming a bond stronger than words, a bond that transcended species, language, and worlds. Elias looked out at the horizon, thinking of the long journey ahead. He did not know where the aliens would strike next or if they would ever stop searching, but he knew one thing clearly. He would protect this child at all costs. Humans had always survived by standing together, by protecting those who could not defend themselves, and by never giving up, even in impossible situations. With the child on his back, Elias set off toward the next challenge, the unknown territory ahead. Each step carried danger, but it also carried hope. Hope that humans, though few in number, could show courage unlike any other species. Hope that the bond between human and alien child could change more than just their own fate. The forest seemed endless, shadows twisting and moving with hidden life, yet Elias pressed on. Humans had a way of doing that, pressing forward when the world seemed impossible, pressing forward for others, protecting life no matter the cost. The child nestled against him made a soft sound, almost like a laugh. Elias smiled despite the weight of exhaustion and the sharp ache in his muscles. "We'll make it," he whispered. "I promise. I'll keep you safe." And in that moment, under the twin moons of Zithera, a human showed once again why his kind was not easily defeated. Courage, compassion, and endurance were weapons just as powerful as any blaster or armor. Elias had taken every strike, faced every danger, and endured every hardship to protect the child. And the story of his bravery was only beginning. The forest of Zithera had grown darker, thicker, and more dangerous as Elias and the child continued their flight. Every step was measured. Every sound was a warning. Birds with glowing feathers shrieked in the distance. Slithering creatures with scales that shone like metal moved silently among the roots. Elias's senses were on high alert, and he could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. The child was exhausted, but it clung to him, its trust absolute. And humans, Elias knew, never abandoned those who relied on them. Suddenly, the air changed. A faint hum, almost like electricity, vibrated through the ground. Elias paused, listening. Then came the soft crunch of boots or something heavier, moving quickly through the undergrowth. He froze, chest tight, muscles coiled. The alien soldiers had found them. Elias didn't panic. He had faced worse. He had survived worse. And he had something stronger than fear. He had determination. He lowered the child gently to the forest floor, crouching beside it. "Stay behind me," he whispered. "Don't move. Don't make a sound." The first soldier appeared, tall and lithe, with weapons bristling along its arms. It moved with speed and precision, trained to kill. Elias raised his sidearm, but he also relied on instinct. Humans were unpredictable, and that unpredictability had always been an advantage in battle. The soldier attacked, swinging a bladed weapon. Elias blocked it with a swift movement of his arm and countered with a strike that forced the alien backward. Another soldier lunged from the side. Elias pivoted, grabbed a fallen branch, and used it to trip the attacker. The alien fell hard, hissing in surprise. The child's eyes were wide, watching silently. Elias could feel its fear, its hope, and its trust all at once. Protecting this small, fragile being was no longer optional. It was essential. Humans, he thought, had the strange power to face overwhelming odds and endure pain for others. And he would show it now. Another attack came. Elias was hit across the shoulder and pain flared, sharp and hot. But he didn't falter. He gritted his teeth, moved with precise speed, and blocked a second blow aimed for the child. The alien stumbled, confused by his endurance and unpredictability. Elias countered, using the alien's momentum against it. Minutes stretched into a blur. The battle was chaotic. Sparks flew as weapons clashed, branches snapped underfoot, and alien shrieks echoed through the forest. Elias felt every strike, every near miss, every brush with death. And still he moved. Humans could endure. Humans could think faster, act smarter, and survive longer than aliens expected. And humans protected life no matter the cost. One soldier managed to strike again, hitting Elias in the side. Pain shot through him, making his vision blur. He fell slightly and the child cried out. Elias pushed the pain aside, focused entirely on defense. He raised himself just in time to intercept another attack, blocking the alien weapon and rolling behind a fallen tree. The child clung to him, shivering, but safe. Elias patted its back briefly. "I've got you. Always," he whispered. Suddenly, a shadow moved faster than the others, larger and more commanding. A third figure emerged, tall, armored differently, its presence radiating authority and power. Elias realized immediately, this was no ordinary soldier. This was the alien mother searching for her child. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, locked onto him. For a moment, Elias expected her to attack, but instead she paused, observing him. She saw the sweat on his face, the blood staining his armor, and the careful way he shielded the child with his body. She saw the small alien child looking at him with absolute trust, and she hesitated. Elias felt her gaze but did not flinch. He stood protectively in front of the child, battered and exhausted but unyielding. Humans, he knew, did not break easily. Humans endured pain, danger, and fear if it meant protecting others. That was their strength. That was what made them dangerous and extraordinary. The alien mother spoke, her voice harsh but curious. Elias did not understand the words, but her intent was clear. She demanded explanation. Elias took a deep breath, speaking slowly, clearly, using the simplest words possible. "I am human. I protect the child. No harm will come." The mother's expression shifted slightly. She had never seen a human so determined, so selfless. Her culture valued strength, yes, but it measured strength by dominance and power, not endurance or compassion. Yet here was a human who had faced every strike, endured every blow, and still stood to protect her child. The child made a small sound, tugging slightly at Elias's armor. He bent down to ensure it stayed behind him, showing the mother he was committed. Every muscle in his body ached, but he did not step back. He could see in the mother's eyes a mix of suspicion, awe, and something else, a recognition of his courage. The alien soldiers who had attacked earlier now circled at a distance, watching. They were confused. Humans were supposed to be fragile. Humans were supposed to break. Yet Elias had survived strike after strike, shielded the child, and shown no hesitation. Their training had not prepared them for this. Elias noticed something small but significant. The child reached out, touching his cheek. He smiled faintly through the blood and sweat. Trust, hope, human courage had inspired this bond. And now even the alien mother could see it. She spoke again, slowly this time, her words carrying a weight of contemplation. Elias did not understand them, but he could feel the meaning. A challenge, a test, and perhaps respect. The mother stepped closer, watching him carefully. She gestured toward the child as if asking why he would risk everything. Elias replied simply, clearly, "Because it is right. Because it must be done. Humans protect those who cannot protect themselves." For a long moment the forest held its breath. The mother's eyes studied him and Elias stood firm. Every inch of him screamed exhaustion. Every wound throbbed with pain, but he did not falter. Humans endured. Humans faced the impossible. Humans stood for others. Finally, the mother lowered her weapon slightly. Her expression softened, though her body remained alert. She had witnessed something unprecedented, human courage that did not come from strength or aggression, but from a refusal to allow harm to come to the innocent. The child, sensing the shift, moved closer to Elias, resting its small head against his chest. Elias wrapped an arm around it, feeling the warmth and trust that had grown stronger with every step, every danger, and every strike he had taken. The alien mother studied the human carefully. Then, in a voice quiet but commanding, she said something in her language. Elias did not understand the words, but the tone carried meaning. It was a declaration, a recognition, a connection. And for reasons he could not yet fully grasp, it carried an unmistakable weight. He had earned her respect, her acknowledgement, perhaps even her trust. Elias did not relax entirely. Danger was never far, and the alien soldiers still lingered. But in that moment, a small but significant change occurred. Humans were no longer just outsiders, fragile and weak. Humans were protectors. Humans endured beyond expectation. And humans could inspire even the most cautious alien to pause, to reconsider, and to see them differently. The forest seemed quieter now, the air less tense, though Elias remained vigilant. He looked down at the child and whispered, We're not safe yet, but we're not alone. Not anymore. The child chirped softly, and for the first time Elias felt a strange warmth in his chest. Not from courage, not from determination, but from connection. Humans survived through strength of heart as much as strength of body, and here in the alien wilderness he had proven it. The alien mother watched them from the shadows, her expression unreadable but thoughtful. Elias did not know what she would do next or how her people would respond, but he had no fear. Humans were not just survivors, they were guardians, innovators, and courageous beyond expectation. And he would continue to prove it one step at a time for the child who now depended on him entirely. As the first light of dawn touched the forest, Elias gathered the child once more. His body ached, his wounds throbbed, and exhaustion weighed on him, but he moved forward. Humans could endure. Humans could protect. And humans could inspire even those who had never known their courage. Elias Ward, battered but unbroken, walked into the unknown. The child clung to him, safe because he refused to give in to fear or pain. And somewhere, unseen, the alien mother was learning a lesson she would never forget. That courage, selflessness, and endurance could make even the fiercest alien hesitate, pause, and perhaps begin to understand the human heart. The forest began to thin, revealing wide open plains bathed in the soft light of Zithera's twin moons. Elias moved carefully, keeping the child close. Though the immediate threat of the alien soldiers had passed, he knew the danger was far from over. Alien patrols could appear at any moment, and the terrain was unpredictable. Yet he felt something different this morning, a sense of calm, fragile but growing, like the first breath of hope. The child, still perched on his back, made soft, musical sounds as it watched the landscape unfold. Elias smiled faintly. "Don't worry. We'll find a safe place soon," he whispered. The words were meant as reassurance, though he knew he could not yet promise safety. Humans survived through courage, ingenuity, and determination. But survival did not guarantee comfort. Ahead, movement caught his eye. A large figure emerged from the shadows of the distant forest, a tall, armored alien moving with fluid precision. Elias instinctively shifted to place the child behind him, but this time, the figure did not attack. It was the alien mother. Her eyes, sharp and calculating, observed them. She carried no weapon raised, yet every movement radiated authority and caution. Elias did not flinch. He had faced every strike to protect this child, endured every attack, and yet he had survived. Humans were unpredictable in the eyes of aliens, but that unpredictability came from their courage, their refusal to give up, and their unwavering protection of life. The mother approached slowly. Elias could see her scanning him, noticing the scratches on his armor, the bruises forming along his skin, the sweat and blood matted in his hair. Every mark told a story. Every strike he had taken, every danger he had faced, every moment he had risked his own life to shield the child. The child made a soft sound and reached out toward Elias. He knelt slightly to be closer to the child's level, offering a comforting hand. "It's okay," he whispered. "You're safe." The mother paused, and for the first time Elias felt a subtle shift in the atmosphere. In her eyes, he could see curiosity, awe, and perhaps the first glimmer of understanding. She had never witnessed a being endure pain and danger so willingly for another's sake, especially a human, whom her culture had always considered fragile. Elias spoke slowly, deliberately, in the simplest words. "I am human. I protect. It is right. It must be done." His voice carried no threat, only determination. The alien mother tilted her head, studying him. Then she spoke in her own language, words Elias could not understand. But her tone was measured, respectful and curious, as if she were asking a question and simultaneously acknowledging an answer without needing to understand it fully. The child chirped softly, moving closer to Elias, signaling trust and comfort. Elias responded with a small, reassuring smile. Humans survived not only with strength but with bonds. Protection, trust, and empathy were weapons just as sharp as any blade or blaster. The mother circled them slowly, observing. She extended a hand toward the child, but hesitated before touching it. Her culture had rules about ownership, protection, and authority, yet she sensed that Elias had proven himself in ways no alien could have expected. He had taken every strike for her child, endured pain, and never faltered. Humans could survive impossible odds, and now the mother understood why. Elias knelt, speaking softly to the child while keeping one eye on the mother. "You can stay with me. I will protect you." The child's tiny hand pressed against his cheek, a gesture of trust. Elias felt the weight of responsibility but also a surge of pride. Humans carried courage in their hearts, and courage could inspire change. The mother lowered her gaze briefly and then spoke again, her tone carrying clarity, decision, and recognition. She was offering a kind of acknowledgement that transcended language. Elias did not understand her words, but he understood the meaning: respect. And perhaps a bond was forming between them that could grow beyond fear or suspicion. Hours passed as they moved through the plains, keeping watch while the child rested. Elias shared bits of his rations, demonstrating gestures of trust and care. The mother followed at a distance, silently observing, testing his actions, and seeing his unwavering commitment. Every step reinforced what she had seen in the forest. Humans were not merely fragile creatures. They were courageous, inventive, and capable of protecting life even when it seemed impossible. By dusk, Elias found a small valley with natural barriers and a slow-moving stream. He carefully set the child down, letting it explore under his watchful gaze. The alien mother stepped closer, finally breaking the invisible distance between them. She studied Elias carefully, then lowered her hand toward the child. He remained still, allowing the gesture. The child approached her cautiously, chirping softly. The mother's voice carried a single, clear declaration, one that Elias could not understand, but its meaning was unmistakable. It was an acknowledgement of trust and recognition of his courage. In her culture, it was a statement that carried deep significance. He had earned her respect, her attention, and a bond that went beyond mere survival. Elias nodded silently, understanding that words were not necessary. Humans had survived through action, and actions spoke louder than any language. He had proven the essence of human courage, endurance, and empathy. As night fell fully, Elias kept watch over the child, while the alien mother stayed nearby, silent but attentive. Trust was growing, fragile yet undeniable. Elias had faced impossible odds, endured pain, and shielded the child from harm. In return, he had earned something even more extraordinary: recognition from a species that had never known human courage. Elias looked at the child, sleeping peacefully for the first time since he found it. He felt a quiet pride and a renewed determination. The journey ahead would be dangerous, but humans had always survived by protecting those who could not protect themselves. And now, even across species, he had begun to show the universe what humans were capable of. The dawn on Zithira brought clarity and light. Elias woke to find the child resting peacefully beside him, and the alien mother watching quietly nearby. There was a tension in the air, but it was no longer hostile. Something had changed. Elias had taken every strike, endured every danger, and protected life with unwavering resolve. That courage had left a mark, not only on the child but on the alien mother as well. Elias spoke softly, reassuring both the child and the alien mother. "We will move forward together. You are safe with me." The mother tilted her head, observing him with measured curiosity. Her culture had never encountered a human like this. He was fragile by appearance, yet his courage and determination were unmatched. He had shielded her child, defied the odds, and endured pain without hesitation. That bravery could not be ignored. Together they began to move. The alien mother no longer followed from a distance. She walked alongside them, careful but attentive. The child moved between them, chirping softly, its trust in Elias unwavering. The plain stretched endlessly before them, filled with dangers they had yet to face. But Elias did not falter. Humans survived not through recklessness, but through courage, ingenuity, and the determination to protect others. As they traveled, Elias demonstrated his resourcefulness. He used fallen branches to create barriers, marked paths to confuse potential pursuers, and found safe water sources. The alien mother watched intently, slowly recognizing that humans combined strength with intelligence in ways her species had not expected. Humans were unpredictable, resilient, and deeply committed to life. Eventually, they reached a hidden valley surrounded by cliffs, providing natural protection. Elias carefully set up a small camp, allowing the child to explore while remaining safe. The alien mother observed silently, her respect growing. Elias shared his rations with the child, demonstrating care and patience. Small gestures he knew could bridge worlds. Night fell and the alien mother approached him. She spoke in her language, words Elias could not understand, but the tone was clear. It was recognition, acknowledgement, and perhaps even acceptance. The bond forged through courage, endurance, and protection had transformed suspicion into trust. Elias nodded quietly. "We will protect each other. That is what humans do," the child chirped happily, wrapping itself around Elias. The alien mother studied the scene, understanding something new about humanity. Humans were not merely survivors. They were guardians, capable of inspiring trust and loyalty across species. Over the following days, the trio traveled together. Elias's actions continued to impress the alien mother. Each obstacle, hostile patrols, dangerous terrain, and wild creatures, was met with careful planning, courage, and determination. Humans survived by facing challenges head-on and protecting those who could not defend themselves. Elias embodied that principle perfectly. Stories of the human who had taken every strike to protect an alien child began to spread quietly among the alien factions. Even without understanding human language, the acts themselves became legendary. Courage and selflessness transcended words. The alien mother gradually became an ally, recognizing the humanity in Elias not just in his form, but in his spirit. She began to guide them safely, using her knowledge to protect them from dangers while respecting Elias's leadership. A bond had formed that transcended species, a bond built on trust, courage, and the shared desire to protect the innocent. Elias walked under Zithra's twin moons, carrying the child, the alien mother, at his side. He understood now that courage and protection were universal languages. Humans, fragile yet resilient, had the power to change the hearts of others. In time, the child grew stronger, learning from Elias's example. The alien mother, once suspicious, now treated humans with respect and even admiration. Elias's actions had left a lasting impression, not just on the individuals he saved, but on an entire culture. The story of one human taking every strike for a child became legend on Zythera. Humans were no longer considered fragile outsiders. They were protectors, brave and enduring. Elias had proven that courage, compassion, and the will to protect life were the true strength of humanity. And as the stars shone above, Elias Ward, the child, and the alien mother moved forward together, leaving a legacy of bravery, trust, and the undeniable power of the human spirit.